Okay, good evening, everyone. This is going to be a live coverage live stream of Storm Dave. Storm Dave is currently positioned around Northern Ireland at the moment. In fact, this is outdated. According to the UKV, Storm Dave should be just over Western Scotland at the moment. So, what we're expecting to happen within the next few hours is we're going to see a surge of winds head into Northern England, which are going to reach around 50, 60 miles an hour widely, 70 miles an hour in places, even the odd 80 miles an hour. And then what's going to happen later on is we're going to see Storm Dave just move out into the North Sea. But with it, we're going to see this surge of winds come down, and that's going to go straight towards Aberdeenshire. And that is something that we're also quite concerned about. So yeah, that's kind of the full kind of range of what's going on today. Let's have a look at the weather warnings. We have amber wind warnings in force for that first surge of northern winds that I talked about earlier. But for Aberdeenshire, we are still under a yellow warning. We have a yellow snow warning as well. It appears people have been peeing in snow for some reason, so that's why the yellow snow warning has been issued. No, in reality, if you couldn't tell, that was actually a joke. What I was what I was saying is that we have basically the chance for blizzard conditions because we've got all this wind and we've also got a lot of cold air, and because it always snows in Scotland, we're going to see a lot of snow. We're going to see quite a lot of snow accumulation and blizzards accumulated associated with this. This was a rain and snow warning yesterday, but they changed it back today to a snow warning. So in terms of the amber wind warnings, we have one that goes all the way to Newcastle and includes areas. I think Blackpool is involved, Liverpool and Manchester are not involved in this yellow warning. What we also have is one swath of the yellow warning that is part of the same thing. That is also for Wales as well. So parts of Wales also doing it. The Isle of Man has gone amber as well. I did go and check that. So amber pretty much all the way around here. Now, I'm quite concerned that we don't have an amber warning for Aberdeenshire, as there could be quite impactful winds that come with this. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I can see all of you chatting. So Steve Windle, the Train and Nature Show. I remember what you are on Discord, but I've completely forgotten, so I don't, don't completely know what's going on. We also have Barth Mac. Hello. Welcome to the stream. So we've also got some webcams. So hopefully when I press Control Shift 1, we should go to the first webcam. We're going to see if that actually worked. Uh, Looking at my preview right now, did that work? And maybe it did. I'm not completely sure. We're going to have to actually check that. It did work. Okay, that's great news. And then if we do Control Shift 2, we'll go to this camera. So this camera here, I'm pretty sure is in Cumbria in the peak. Oh, it's Laura. Okay, yeah. Hi, Laura. Welcome to the stream. Uh, we've got a Cumbria cam as well that is starting to have winds pick up. Now, winds are going to pick up in the next hour or so. And as they do, the impacts of the amber warning are expected, and that's going to happen throughout the next few hours. And after that, we're going to see a bit of a break in the bad winds. And then what we're going to see is we're going to see, hi, Metsu, welcome. Uh, I see Metsu still has power. That is great news. Yeah, so after that, we're going to see yet again, as I said, a surge of winds that will clip some parts of Aberdeenshire, which we are currently watching with quite a bit of diligence at the moment. I'm surprised that they haven't amber warned this because there could be some pretty large impacts that come from this. You can see in Cumbria, however, near the yeah, in Cumbria, we are seeing winds really start to pick up along with other areas. We've also got this camera in Liverpool. This camera in Liverpool shows a junction. We are expecting winds to pick up there as well. Maybe not as much as Wales and stuff, because this is just out of the amber warning. But 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts are not out of the question at the moment. Now we've also got the power outages map up, so we're going to be keeping a track on this throughout the night. The likelihood is that we may see quite a few power outages throughout this area as we move through the night. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, sorry, I'll just switch back to us. So this is what we're expecting. We've got the amber power outage map currently down here. We've actually got some random power outages in Warwickshire at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised if Metsu also loses lots of power because he always loses power. Um, but yeah, we are keeping an eye. We'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the night, pretty much. Hi, send it. Welcome along. We've got the radar here. I have no clue. I'm getting shredded ads as well, but you can see in the radar we kind of have that structure already coming into place. Oh wow. There we go. Network radar is not being responsive. You can see we do actually have quite a few heavy bands of rain associated with this, and this is also related. These heavy bands of rain are also related to the blizzard conditions that are being mentioned quite a lot right now. But you can see here, this is the low here. Now, I've been checking the observations, and currently the low is at around 979 hectopascals. There are a few stray readings that said 960, but they won't be verifying. That's way too deep for this storm. This is no storm Coretti. I just want to make that clear. This is quite a typical-ish storm, but it is a bit, all over the shop today because it's the Easter weekend, which is likely one of the main reasons why they issued that annual warning. The impacts are expected to be higher as people are meant to be celebrating the Easter holidays uh, literally tomorrow as this storm comes in. It's a perfect time. But you can see we've got this kind of sting jetty feature. There is a chance of a sting jet developing, but it really depends on how much it intensifies. The ingredients are there, but I'm not sure if that will actually happen. As I said before, Aberdeenshire may take the brunt of some of this wind as it comes through, and we are expecting winds to rapidly develop once again as they head out to the North Sea, and that will be something to watch throughout the night. So let's just switch over to the Cumbria because we are starting to see winds really pick up there quite a bit at the moment. You can see it's all starting to shake around. Yeah, look at that. We are starting to get some real gusts in. You look at that, and I'm gonna pull up the latest gust readings from NetWeather, and that gives us an idea of what we're doing. So last time I had a look at these, it was at 64. That we may have a higher reading than that, but I'm not completely sure. Uh, okay, yeah. So we do still have that 64 gust. The Isle of Man also recorded a few 60-mile-an-hour gusts. The 60-mile-an-hour gusts are starting to come in throughout. But yeah, at the moment, this is kind of the consensus we're going for here. That it's going to start to intensify throughout the night, throughout the north. Um, Scotland Central Belt looked like they were going to get hit by it yesterday. It's all been very variable at the moment with all of these model runs. But luckily for us tonight, it doesn't look like, luckily for Scotland at least, it doesn't look like the Central Belt will be hit by the brunt for winds. There'll still be some quite gusty winds, but it doesn't look that bad at the moment. If we just have a look in Liverpool, see what's going on there, it looks pretty calm to be honest. Not much going on. You couldn't really tell there's a windstorm. Probably not the best camera I could have picked at the moment, considering it is in Liverpool, and Liverpool isn't necessarily going to get the worst kind of gusts. Hi James, welcome to the stream. But yeah, this is what we've kind of got going at the moment. So yeah, the low is starting to it has rapidly been developing over the past few hours, and we're going to continue to monitor all of this throughout the night. Firstly, let's go on to what gusts we are actually expecting, because this is the constant wind, and they'll also say we do have some quite nasty constant winds for Aberdeen. This is why I keep saying they should be issuing an amber warning for this, because that's exactly the criteria that got Northern England an amber warning. If we just have a look here, I'm just going to change that. There we go, 35 miles an hour, 42 miles an hour in places, and these are constant wind. This is not wind gusts, these are actual constant winds. Thank you, Metsu. I hope it's quite a late dinner. Has the power been out? Is that why you haven't been able to have dinner? Yeah, that's probably what's happened. Yeah, so we've got wind currently at 42 miles an hour. That's what the latest UKV has been saying. Now, that's quite remarkable because it's kind of clipping Aberdeen, and we still just have a yellow warning. So like these gusts here are getting the same warning as, for example, these gusts here. If we go back a bit early on to where the peak gusts are going to happen, this here is getting the same level of warning as what we're expecting later on, with quite bad gusts into Sunday morning. You can see if we actually switch to the gusts themselves, that might be useful to point out what we're expecting to see. We're expecting to see quite strong wind gusts, but nothing on the scale of Storm Goretti. But you can see here uh, lots of not nice gusts, where it's like 70 mile an hour is very much, yeah, look at that. Even inland in places, we are going to see 70 miles an hour in Aberdeenshire. And then throughout the night, as you can see, a lot of widespread wind gusts as well. Like 71 inland is quite concerning, which is why they have gone ahead and issued the amber warning. James says, I'm not really sure why I even have a yellow warning for wind. Hardly any impacts for any area, but as you say, a lot worse for Aberdeen. Yeah, that is something that I have been questioning quite a bit, and I'm not sure why they have done that. But if I just switch back over to the main screen here, you can see that we are going to have some quite nasty wind gusts in this central belt here of northern England, which is basically the amber warning. They've basically done it straight off the amber warning, exactly as these wind gusts are suggesting. You can see it does speed up off the coast as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see an 80 mile an hour gust today, as there is definitely some severe wind gusts that we're going to be seeing with this. Not on the scale of something as good as Storm Goretti, but still something to keep in mind at the moment. Yeah, so you can see here, you've got all of these winds coming in. This is due at about 1 hour 30 actually. So this is when we're actually going to see around the peak of the wind gusts. And then if we have a look here at Aberdeen, you can see it's quite calm. In fact, it would have been rather calm throughout the day. They would have started seeing the first impacts they've already seen them actually. And then what will happen is that we're going to see these winds start to turn around basically as the low really starts to intensify as it goes out. And then that's just going to clip Aberdeenshire. And that's why we are quite concerned on that front. Okay, looking at the power outages, I don't expect we have much so far. Yes, we are actually seeing an increase in power outages. We've had 200 more customers out in the past. Yeah, we are starting to see it here. You can see at the moment North Yorkshire is starting to have an increase in outage numbers, and that is expected as we do go through here. I'm no clue why Warwickshire is doing so badly. That is just beyond me. I'm not completely sure why. I think Warwickshire, yeah, something's gone wrong there, because I'm not sure if they're even in. I think they are in the wind warning only by a bit, if at all. So I think that's just some issues on their end. Something's happened there. But as you can see, we're starting to see an increase of customers being out within this area. Peterhead, north of Aberdeen, looks worse for winds, 80 to 90 mile an hour gusts. Yeah, exactly. This is why we're quite concerned. And I'm still quite surprised, because an amber warning has been issued because the confidence has been high. The impacts have stayed the same and the confidence has been high. If I just show you the warnings on the matrix, you can see if we go to this amber warning and we scroll down. So it's always been at this medium impact, and that's quite significant, but not incredible. Basically, that's what it is. And we were at here for quite a while. In fact, we started here, and then yesterday we moved up to here, and today we've gone up to here with the amber warning. And then if we have a look at this Scotland warning, we are just one below that. However, this Aberdeen clipper here that we are starting to see is looking a lot more likely. We've been seeing it consistently through the runs that Aberdeenshire, especially this area it points out, is going to get hit hard. by the secondary wind gusts that are going to come throughout the day, which is why I think they should add a localized amber warning in this area. And I'm quite surprised that they haven't really. Not sure if it's down to low population, so lower impact. That could be it, but still, that's a bit, silly though. If it's a lower population, that could be the reason behind it. But in fact, I do think we actually have the tables. No, it's nothing to do with the impact. It's to do with the likelihood actually, because as you can see, we've got the same level of impact here as we do with the amber wind warning here. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. I'm not exactly sure why they've not issued an amber warning, and at this point, as people are going to sleep, they really need to issue one within the next 10 or so minutes to get the message out, really, before we can actually be sure what's going on. So I'm quite surprised they haven't. If we now go to our secondary camera, the one in Cumbria, you can see gusts are starting to pick up quite a bit. We're having this quite consistently now. I'm also going to pull up the observations from other stations to see what gusts we are currently receiving. You can see that it's starting to get quite windy in that area, and it is quite windy across the whole of the UK. And we're almost peaking 70 after midnight too. Yeah. The threat for Edinburgh has moved a little bit less because has gone a bit southwards, but great stream, thank you very much, James. But yeah, that is definite. Like, there's still some concerning impacts that look likely from this. Like, I'm not necessarily sure what is going on, but anyway, yeah. Look, now the winds are really starting to pick up in that Cumbria cam at the moment. Um, So, yeah, all right. So let's have a look at the readings. I was going to say that we're going to have a look at the pressure readings to try and estimate what the current central pressure is as of now, and then we'll try and see more damage reports throughout the day as we are likely to see them into the night. I don't think the damage is going to be too bad. Aberdeenshire, though, as we go into the evening, is something that is quite concerning. Yeah. All right. So. Thank you, Bath Mac, for the positive feedback. Absolutely loving it. All right, so the central pressure at the moment, so it's centered around West Scotland, and we're getting pressure readings around. Let's have a look here. I'm gonna have to really scroll through all the stations here because there are quite a few. It's definitely below 980 at the moment. We're getting multiple station readings. Yeah, 979 is definitely it. Uh, Hello, local Ferry Scotland. Welcome along to the stream. Don't worry for being late. Um, but yeah, definitely is starting to become quite a deep low, which is why they named it quite. Yeah, they named it quite quickly, the Met Office, because we all saw on the models pretty early out that this was likely going to happen. So that was something we've been watching quite a bit. If we head over to the rainfall radar, because we actually can do another thing with this. because we do have the threat of blizzards in Scotland at the moment. If we just go and turn on the snow web types, this is approximately the web type using observations and model data, and you can see that it's basically that entire yellow warning. Like it's literally almost exactly that entire yellow warning, that yellow snow warning right here. That is getting that snow at the moment. You can see if we have a look through the past few radar scans, it's going to take a bit to load. Laura says 991 millibars here in Derbyshire. Yes, so definitely starting to fall. We've got some readings in Scotland of 979, it may even be a 978 reading, and it is definitely starting to deepen, and that's why we're expecting within the next hour gusts really intensify throughout the north. If I head back to the main feed, I keep forgetting to do this, but you can see here we've got red that is snow, green that is sleet, and the blue that is rain, and you can see basically exactly replicating that yellow warning area of snow, where we were expecting to see blizzards, and I'm pretty sure there were accumulation numbers here as well. 5 to 10 centimeters is likely. Now, James, who is in this yellow snow warning, says that it has turned back to rain. It's a good while it lasted. Isn't it meant to turn back to snow at some point, James? Because I think that's what's meant to happen for you anyway. It's pretty crazy that we've got blizzards on the table and you're the one that's not getting the snow. That's crazy. Anyway, so the yellow snow, blizzards, 5 to 10 centimeters likely, and even chances of 20 to 30 centimeters possible. So yeah, that is definitely another threat that we aren't really keeping at the forefront, but it is quite notable at the moment. Yes, after midnight again, you're getting the snow. Okay, right, cool. So if we go to the power outages, we're going to try again, see what's going on, and are we seeing any more power outages at the moment? It looks like it's the same, but it hasn't updated since that point. So we are waiting for the next update. Well, we will get the next update based on what's going on as these power outages continue to come in. So North Yorkshire is currently the main one that's being affected by the storm at the moment. We'll try and get a webcam up there shortly. In fact, I'll show you yet again the camera that we've always been using, the one that is in the Lake District in Cumbria. We'll go to that camera for a bit. Gusts are calming down, but I'm going to go and have a look out for other webcams that we could use. There we are. Alright. Power outages just suit. Yeah, exactly. That does seem to be the theme. It is just Metsuit that's getting the power outages. So in Newcastle, that's definitely one that we're going to be watching. We might even get this. I do not want me to. Okay, it does not want me to have the cookies disabled. Wow. Final accept your cookies. Doesn't even want me to do that anyway. Work. There we are. Right, so this webcam is absolutely awful. Okay, we won't be using that then. There's some pretty awful cameras right now. But yes, the power outages are starting to come in, as I said, through that amber warned area. The snow is looking very much limited to that amber warning at the moment, so that pretty much makes sense. We are seeing some expected figures here. We're going to have a look at the latest wind gusts. We're getting 60 miles an hour in Valley. I'm not sure exactly where Valley is, but I would assume it's somewhere in the western Scotland, northern England area. That's my assumption. That is my assumption. Okay, so we're going to continue to attempt to find a webcam at the moment that will highlight what's going on in Newcastle. I believe that there will be quite a few. Oh, is that somewhat good? No, that looks like a pretty bad cam. Oh, no, maybe. If we look a bit further. Anyway, so the pressure at the moment on this storm was deeper than expected earlier. Now it looks a bit shallower, which may mean the impacts are more limited than was expected earlier. But I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, this cam is frozen, so we're not going to be able to use that. We'll switch over to slot one probably. Actually, slot three probably. That might be better. Because there was rain coming down there, and it was definitely angled. I'm not sure if you can see what is going on that well there. And I'm just going to continue to try and look for a good webcam that will provide actually decent coverage. Holy Island cam. Oh no, wait. Yeah, we do have something here. It's just yet again quite bad. I mean, I guess we could use that. I guess we could use that. Um. Anyway, for anyone just joining, this is the current situation we have. We have amber wind warnings currently covering northern England. We have yellow wind warnings. There should be an amber warning in Aberdeenshire. We've got a yellow snow warning for blizzards, and currently, in the moment, snow does seem to be falling in the expected places. Now, looking back on that Liverpool webcam, if we just do that for a second. That is not a Liverpool webcam. Doesn't seem too gusty at the moment, but things are picking up, I think. No, yeah, you can actually see there on that light, on that traffic light cover, things are starting to really pick up there a bit. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. It looks like I'm going to have to refresh both webcams here. Okay, we should be back in both. Oh, that webcam's gone offline. Okay, that's interesting. So webcam has gone down by the looks of it. Does that mean that we're getting potentially power outages? Potentially power outages starting to come in here. Oh no, it looks like they're back now. Okay, that's interesting. Things are starting to get a bit buggy by the looks of it. Um, Power outage wise, do we have an update? Yes, and we have 100 more customers out, so it is starting to definitely build up now. North Yorkshire, Lancashire are starting to get some power outages as well. Some in Greater Manchester as well. So it isn't major power outages at the moment. We have North Yorkshire that is getting the brunt of it of houses out by the storm. And then we've got Lancashire as well that is going out. So yet again, let's talk about what to expect. We're currently keeping an eye on the live gusts. Power outages do seem to be coming in thick and fast at the moment, but this is what is currently meant to be happening. Gusts are really starting to pick up now. They should be approaching 70 miles an hour in numerous places now. Especially there's a lot of gusts going in to a lot of gusts going into working to Whitehaven here, according to the UKV model. That's what is potential. That's what it's saying. And very, very large wind gusts coming in here. Maybe up to 80 miles an hour. That's what it's saying. So it's really starting to happen here. Isle of Man is getting absolutely battered. Absolutely, that is not good. James says that James is currently in Scotland. In the chat has said it's starting to turn back into snow. You can see with all the temperatures that are at least being told by the UKV, you can see you've got cold air here, kind of warm air here, but that's going to kind of like plunge back down basically as the storm moves through. We've had these southerly winds here coming up, pushing the warm air in this direction, and then it's going to just turn around and start battering back down here, which is why this cold air is going to come back in and then cause more snow into the western Scotland area, basically. So we'll probably have. Oh wow! Big update! Big update! We've just had. Yeah, power outages are really starting to get going now. We have 2,674 people out in North Yorkshire. So that is a big number. That is a big number. A lot of people have just gone out. The winds are starting to really affect the power network in North Yorkshire. So that is quite a large amount. That's over 10%. So the power outages are really starting to happen in North Yorkshire. Yeah, that's for certain. In Lancashire, we also have 1,000 homes out. Quite a few in Manchester, but these two areas are definitely starting to get a lot of power outages, and that is to be expected. If we have a look in Scotland, we might as well look in Scotland as well, seeing as southern Scotland, I think, is in the amber warning. Yeah, actually the Highlands. So this area here where we're seeing the blizzards is also getting some power outages too. So yeah, we're starting to see some power outages really come in force here. That is what we were expecting, to be honest. Oh, okay. We've just had some news in from Laura. in the track. There was a 76 mile an hour wind gust apparently, so I'm going to just investigate that. Yeah. All right. No issues with power for James, so that's definitely something. A power flicker has just been seen in Scotland. We're getting reports of power flickers, so that's something to note. Um, You know what's actually interesting about this yellow snow warning? It also has the same likelihood level as all the wind warnings as well. I've just noticed that. So that's something definitely to note, that the impacts are still quite reasonably severe. And if we have a look at the matrix tables for what a medium impact snow looks like, we go here. Some vehicles stranded and passengers, and then disruption to railroad and air services. And then some rural communities temporarily inaccessible due to deep snow or snowdrifts. And then wind-wise, these are the impacts that we're expecting according to what the Met Office have issued. Uh, Injuries and danger to life from flying debris. There is the chance for flying debris. Apparently, there is a lot of people out in Wales. Yeah, we should have checked that definitely. We'll take a look because Wales also has an amber swath of the warning. So I should have checked that. Oh yeah, we do have a lot of people out in South Scotland, surprisingly. We don't have any tracking on northern Scotland, which is what we are looking for storm-wise, but we do have a lot of people out in southern Scotland, which is interesting. There is definitely some wind gusts that will be going through, so literally one thing could have gone wrong there, which would have caused all of those power outages to occur. So that's not necessarily that surprising. Um, Latest radar, I think snow is starting to set back in. Yeah, look at that. Okay, look at this here. So you see how this kind of jet just dips down. Okay, and what that does is it brings the cold air that was mixing with this snow back down. Therefore, that means that more southern areas are starting to see more snow. You can see over time it's starting to progress through a bit more southerly. So that's something to certainly note. We're going to check yet again what's going on UK wise. In England, we now have 4,000 out. That is the same as earlier. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, was there 1,000 out in Lancashire? No, I think, no, yeah. No, yeah, okay, no. That is the same as last time. But I do expect that number to possibly go up over time as as this is certainly getting more violent. I really want to find a webcam that we can use. Maybe this one. Fasten water cams. Let's see. Silith. Oh, wait, working to webcam. That might be the thing we should search up. just switch back to the main webcam for now as we try and find out what's going on. So onto the possible impacts. I think James was talking about this. As this moves through, what's going to happen? As I said, it was going to intensify as we head out into the North Sea. And you can see as it hits Norway, some incredible wind gusts coming in. And as we move through, we are going to see some notable wind gusts, not as bad as the UK. However, some of the gusts that do clip Norway are going to be quite bad. However, into Sweden, you can see, let's just switch to a longer ridge model, such as the MCWF. Quite serious wind gusts heading into Sweden. I do wonder if they've issued any warnings for this as storm day comes in into Sunday evening. But you can see some quite serious wind gusts heading straight into southern Sweden as we do move through. That's something to note later on. You can see, however, that intensification that will come with it. Specifically, let's say 9 o'clock Sunday. Look at that. Almost 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts occurring widely in the North Sea. So the Met Office have issued multiple gale warnings for this. So if we have a look at Met Office shipping forecast. You can see that literally almost everything has a gale warning at the moment. And these are valid till 6 o'clock on Sunday. So if we have a look at one of the probably worst areas, 40s for example, southwesterly storm force 10 expected later. Now, storm force 10 is basically pretty bad. Okay, that's like storm force 10. It's called storm force 10 for a reason. You have cyclonics at 6, the gale 10, increasing gale 8, storm 10, and then it will slow down over time. But that's pretty bad wind speed. I would not want to be like in a boat there. Just saying that is not that good. Heading back to the webcam at the moment, you can see, wow, those gusts are really starting to pick up in Cumbria. It's getting quite gusty now. Look at that, you can see that actually lamppost is moving. We just do a bit of a zoom in. Look at that, people are running here. Not sure if that's a robbery or something. Imagine if that's a robbery and we just caught it live on camera. That would be quite funny. Of course it wouldn't be because crime is bad, but look at that, you can see that that thing moving like crazy right now. And if we just head back to camera 2, you can also see the gusts have died down, but I mean, I think that's just the general wind. We're going to see another burst of winds in a few minutes. If we head to camera 1, you can't really see the wind. I've picked up a pretty bad camera for visualizing wind. You can see there are some lights moving about at the moment. It is getting quite hectic at the moment. If we now head over to our power outages, we should get another update shortly. I'm expecting it within the next few minutes. In fact, if we reload now. Okay, the customers out has gone down to 3,000, so that's a good sign. It appears our Lancashire issue has been resolved. We still have the same amount of people out in North Yorkshire at the moment. Still looking a bit hectic. again, it's quite a lot of power outages going on there. If we then head over to one second. If we then head over to the snow situation, pretty much the same thing as what was observed before. So I think we should just have a look at what the Met Office thinks of this. Now, many in the weather community are in the opinion of that we should have an amber warning in Aberdeenshire. We'll have a look at what the Met Office is saying. So they put out an update at 1:34 when they issued the amber warnings, like shortly after. And this is what they said. Storm Dave will bring a period of strong and potentially disruptive winds across the northern parts of the UK this evening and tomorrow morning, and amber and yellow national severe warnings have been issued for parts of northern England, North Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And then we've got this little graphic here. And this was when it was actually named itself. And now you can see here that those were where the gusts were expected a few days ago. Now they've actually been moved more to the north, and that is more obvious here in this new amber warning. You can see here this is kind of like a graphic for the wind gust, and you can see it just moves straight through. If we head back to our camera 3 at the moment, we can see that's the wrong one. Sorry. You can see what was ongoing there. You can see the lamppost there is still swinging about quite a bit. People were running. We saw people running earlier because these winds are quite crazy at the moment. Heading over to camera 2. And wind gusts really picking up. You can see it is really starting to shake down there. Pretty nasty winds ongoing at the moment. But yeah, back to the Met Office article. Yellow warnings for wind and snow are also in place for blizzard conditions. Chris Blummer said Storm Dave will bring a period of very strong winds with the strongest gusts most likely in the amber warning area. People should be prepared for impacts, disruption to travel likely, and possible power cuts. So we've already started to see that. Wind speeds will peak up at different times as the area of low pressure moves across the north of the UK, with peak gusts in Northern Ireland expected earlier into today afternoon, before it spreading more widely across the north of the UK. And then you can see quite a lot of snow accumulation is possible. Drivers shouldn't underestimate the impact of very strong winds that are forecast. We recommend taking extra care on exposed higher routes. And then on Easter Monday, things will really start to clear up, and it won't impact everywhere. It's pretty much the north. Areas like the south and the east are pretty much clear. Yeah, that's it on that side. So I'm going to yet again go and search for a webcam. While we do that, I'm going to actually switch to our Cumbria webcam at the moment. The wind gusts are really picking up. There are some genuinely quick webcams ongoing at the moment. Carlisle maybe? No, water cams, of course it's water cams. Basically those cams have ads and are only like 1 frame every minute. It's pretty bad. Walby Farm Carp, so we can watch lambs in the snow. Excusing me of being a bot. I'm not sure what's going on. Ski cams? Nope, that doesn't exist anymore. Winds really are starting to gust out. I'm back from my dinner and the winds have intensified. That does make sense. Give me a camera, please.
Why is it going there? It's so confusing. Oh, we have a report of a 93-mile-an-hour gust. Oh, wow. That is quick. That is a severe gust right there. Put that into perspective, the highest official gust we got from Storm Goretti was 99 miles an hour. We did have a couple unofficial stations reporting 120 though. So that's important to know. North Wales, that's where we got it. Oh, wow. The North Wales one was not one I was expecting. Might be worth to get a webcam down there as well. As if I could find any webcam, that would be really handy. That's a webcam somewhat. See, the winds are really starting to pick up there. Of course, they are actually really high if we're getting that reported 93-mile-an-hour wind gust. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to add a highest wind gust count. Oh, there we are. Possibly. This one isn't really giving us an idea of the gusts either. No. Lifeboat cam. Yeah, the webcam though. That one. Really blurry though. Now we have an advert. Okay. Meanwhile, those gusts in Cumbria are really picking up. There's a lot of motion going on right now. Blimey. Yeah, RIP, exactly. RIP headphone users. They all just got. I can't believe that happened. We've got lightning now.
Wow. It's all going crazy now. Everything's starting to go down. Let's get a look at this. We're getting some lightning strikes from this. It appears to be isolated to Northern England. We do have a few old parts in Northern Ireland as well, but wow, yet again another thing we were not expecting. We're going to go and try and find another camera. While we're doing that, we're going to have a look at our next update of the power outages. Oh, 4,000 out, 4,000 out. And we're starting to see, oh, we're actually starting to see quite an increase. County Durham, 448 properties are out. We've got 445 in Shropshire, and yeah, 445 in Shropshire at the moment. That is, yeah, it's starting to really increase right now. 2,670 out in North Yorkshire, lots of power cuts there. County Durham also being affected by this. Lancashire, the amount of people out in Lancashire has increased again, so the winds are really starting to affect there as well. Cumbria appears to be okay at the moment. Nothing has been reported outage-wise. So that's good. That's good. Um, so yeah, a lot of outages there. So highest wind gust so far is 93 miles an hour reportedly. Um, we are seeing quite high gusts at the moment, widely at the moment. But yeah, quite severe stuff ongoing. Barback is reporting higher wind gusts. That is expected. Pretty much everywhere around the UK is going to see some increase of wind gusts. Even that kind of wind that is wrapping in will still get some low end wind gusts here. We actually do have a few out in Norfolk, in Essex as well. These two counties also have some outages. Uh, North Yorkshire though is currently the outstanding one in here. We're going to wait for the next update. It will come out probably within the next 5 minutes. But yeah, it is starting to become quite concerning. In terms of how deep that low is, it's looking like yeah, actually, before we continue, thought I'd point out the radar imagery. If we just switch back to the radar imagery down here, we turn off weather type, and we just have a look at the front that's kind of developed ahead of this thing. Firstly, we've got these cells here, some of which are actually quite active. Like look at the amount of heavy rain that's coming out of that. That is a serious line that's heading through. Genuinely quite fast. If I just switch back to our main view, here you can see a very nasty looking line kind of pushing through there. And then we've had quite a suspicious looking feature here with kind of like a hook shape. Not sure if that could indicate maybe a water spout is ongoing, or maybe even something tornadic. I'm not sure. That's a possibility, but I'm not sure that would necessarily be the case. However, that is associated with a possible thunderstorm as well, so that could be something to watch out for. Um, Notice how this front here stretches pretty much the entirety of the UK, and it'll actually bring some quite intense, violent gusts. Well, I mean, violent rain, which is likely associated with some gusts as it moves through. It's reaching all the way down. Yeah, look at that! That is crazy. Um, all the way down to France. It's going to hit Brest. It is going to hit Brest. That is crazy. Really, really long front here. Meanwhile, we have this rainy mess heading through in the shape of Storm Dave. It's around this point that we're meant to be seeing the worst wind gusts for northern England anyway. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to keep scanning for webcams that we can put on the stream. Oh, wow, yeah. That is definitely a camera I should be getting on. Okay. We have a new webcam of interest. So you can see the sea is kind of being whipped up by these quite violent gusts. All these ships really starting to move here. Not surprising as a result of this storm. Got a report of very heavy snow with big flakes. So that's just gone. Apparently we have a video of that, and that is in Scotland. Yeah, it is a good webcam for nighttime storm watching. We're also going to keep an eye on the Liverpool cam. Let's see what's going on there. Still see that lamppost is shaking because of these winds. Really crazy stuff. showing the kind of power of these wind gusts. If we just head over to camera 2, look at that, it's really starting to pick up there. Very, very quick gusts ongoing at the moment. Um, Power outages, we're going to just get an update on that most likely. That has likely come out in the past minute or so. So England-wise, what do we have? It appears they've been able to do some good recovery work. Have North Yorkshire. They've managed to get the customers out down to only 287. It was at 3,000 earlier, so that's something good. We still got a large amount of people out in County Durham and in Shropshire, Lancashire as well. North Yorkshire still has some, as I was saying earlier, and then we've got quite a few people going out, especially it's just overall some power outages, but it looks like North Yorkshire is starting to deal with them quite well. So that's pretty good to see. I will head back to the live webcam at the moment to kind of understand what we're seeing here. If we just head over to Wales, actually, we'll head over to Wales here. You can see the waters are starting to be quite disrupted by the storm. So what we're currently seeing right now is the first burst of winds. That's what we're seeing. It's quite a wide swath of the north that is being hit by these winds at the moment. We've got this camera in Wales, we've got this camera in Liverpool, and if you look at the camera in Liverpool, you can see the lampposts are really starting to shake, and that, of course, is pretty indicative of winds being quite high. It is very windy outside here in Liverpool. If we then head over to what we're seeing in Cumbria, you can see the wind gusts really are picking up at points. That's what we're getting right now. So this is basically the threats we're currently seeing. We also have the snow threat, which is over Western Scotland, blizzard conditions possible. That's what's been going on throughout the night. We've had reports from James in the chat. Very heavy snow right now, big flakes, and do have a video of it. I won't be able to show it on stream, but I can verify. I can verify. Yeah, those flakes are big. I can confirm those flakes are very big. If we head back over to the weather warnings, we're going to see if anything was updated on there. I don't think they have, but might as well jump back over to them. So yeah, that yellow wind warning may, in fact, no, it hasn't expired yet, but will expire in a few hours time. The amber warning's still in place. We're seeing power outages associated with this. I'm also going to check Scotland's power outages as well, as that may be something to look at. We haven't looked at Scotland's power outages in a while. So that is definitely something to have a look out for. Let's take a look now. Actually doing pretty well at the moment. The biggest is the Highlands, which has about 1,000 people out as last time. So that's pretty good. They're doing quite well. And Wales, however, we are seeing 2,100 people out, and this is still concentrated. Actually, we do have some in Pembrokeshire as well, and they will be experiencing some quite gusty winds tonight. In Derbyshire, Laura is saying that we have about 13 miles an hour winds. currently heading through. If we head back to our webcams here, we can really try and keep an eye on this. Yeah, those gusts are definitely speeding up. They're definitely speeding up. In Liverpool, the gusts will be starting to slow down as a surge of wind is going to start moving more northwards over time. However, in other areas, that isn't going to be the case. It's going to be a lot more quick, speedy, all of that stuff. As we head later on, Aberdeenshire, as I said earlier, is something that we really need to watch. And I'm surprised yet again the Met Office haven't issued another warning. We head over to the big screen yet again. So this is what the let's go with the icon for now. So what is the icon saying? So we're heading to about now. So this is about now. You can see we have these gusts moving through. As we go over to midnight, those gusts will continue. So interestingly, the icon is a bit slow with moving at this low, but you can see gusts actually persist further on. The icon is being quite beastly with these gusts saying 74 miles an hour widely in places, especially over higher ground. And then you can see this is the second burst we are talking about. You can see that surge of winds already starting to develop, and in fact already impacting parts of Norway at the night with 50 mile an hour gusts possible at that point. You can see it just wraps around. And then what that's going to show, yeah, this is quite on the extreme side, with almost 70 mile an hour gusts possible on this model, I believe, of the UKV. Actually, even TWF will show that. It's actually showing quite a similar picture. Still, Aberdeenshire is getting really hardly clipped by that as these winds surge down to the south. And yeah, again, quite serious impacts that could be seen if that does follow through. Alright, so in terms of gale warnings, we have been seeing widely gale warnings throughout. The entire shipping down the UK Met Office actually forecast for, they're going full on gale warning pretty much. So that's something to note. So if you're driving, if you're on a boat or doing any oil stuff or transporting anything on, it's going to be rough. Let's just say that. This is quite a nasty storm that's moving over the North Sea, and it's going to rapidly intensify as it heads out into the north. And show this intensification, we can just tick on the model. Look at that. Look at those gust speeds. And if we just move this here, almost 100 miles an hour. Pretty crazy gusts being suggested by the icon. But as if we actually move it along. 97 widely is what it's saying, so I would certainly not be doing it. The wind started to pick up here, swing to the northwest. That's from James, and that does line up with what we're seeing with our models. As this air starts to surge back northwards, and in fact, the centre of the low is right there. Metsu is reporting 50 mile an hour wind gusts. So the current highest wind gust we have had reported today is about 750. No, 750. What am I saying? Sorry, 93, I think it was. And that was from. Oh, apparently we have a new amount of power outages. Have a look at that.
England's back on top apparently. 2,000 out. Yeah, look at that. Staffordshire. A large amount of Staffordshire is out of power by the looks of it. They're really starting to see this corridor here actually being quite affected. I think this is out. This is actually out of the amber warning, but still it's getting quite heavily affected by this storm. Maybe that's an indication that maybe the gusts move further south. However, it could just be to do with the fragility of the network. I'm actually actually hearing some quite nasty gusts outside as well. In fact, I'll switch over to the main screen here so you can see that. Send it has 62 mile an hour wind gusts. We got, yeah, okay, wow. So it's really starting to intensify. Gusts of 60 miles an hour being recorded widely by the looks of it. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. We're seeing quite a bit of activity. And yeah, that does appear confirmed the 93 mile an hour wind gust from earlier. So I think what we're actually going to do is we're going to put on the screen a highest wind gust number throughout the night. That would definitely be useful to have. We'll stick it on the Liverpool camera for now. Why not? Not interesting enough. Yeah, we're gonna go to Cumbria cam. Yeah, alright. We're gonna add a new text. There we are. So the current highest wind gust we've had tonight so far does stand at 93 miles an hour. So just leave that there for now. I'll transfer that over to everything else. Copy, text reference, paste reference, paste reference. There we are. So that was in Wales. Now we got a 93 mile an hour wind gust. Now that Wales area was under an amber warning, but we weren't necessarily expecting it to go to 93 miles an hour, but it has. So that could indicate a few things. That may just be that the wind's been surging a bit quicker than expected, all of that stuff. If we actually do have a look at what we were expecting from, let's say, the UKV model, since that is the Met Office model, if we take a look at what we were expecting for the Wales area, go to this area at this time, you can see not really that much across the amber warned area. Only about 64 miles an hour. So this is quite a surprising development to get this high amount of wind gusts in this area. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty unexpected. But yeah, you can see it's really surging here, and I'm surprised we may even get a 90 mile an hour wind gust reading here. later on, especially in coastal areas like Newcastle, for example. They could certainly get a 90 mile an hour wind gust. Uh, Borderline red warning, but isn't enough for it at the moment. Especially since that everyone's going to be going to sleep anyway, which means that we'll just not be able to get that message through anyway, even if that red warning was issued. Um, so it does appear that low has stayed around 979 millibars at the moment. So that's a decently deep low, pretty much. That is crossing the UK as we speak, basically. We'll head over back to camera 2. But yeah, the pressure continues to be quite low as we speak right now. I'm gonna get up the latest pressure readings. We might have something lower. Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Camera wise, you can see the gusts are starting to not necessarily die down, but get a lot less more intense, basically. Because the winds are surging through north of England, but likelihood is they're going to stop soon, and then we're going to see that build up to Scotland, which is then going to go down and really clear Aberdeenshire and a few surrounding areas as well, with those severe wind gusts that are still around. Yeah, that's the situation we're kind of in right now. We're going to check a power outage update because we likely have one of them now. We're down to just under 2,000. It appears that Staffordshire have been able to get something done with that. County Durham as well. We do have an increase in power outages in Rutland as well. If we check Norfolk as well, is actually getting quite a few power outages. Decent amount there to actually colour the map in. Essex, small power outage, small isolated power outages, nothing really of note. Yeah, that's all it is. I'm surprised I'm not seeing a power. Yeah, Metsu, how are you not seeing a power cut yet? Is this some kind? This is some kind of miracle. Absolutely, some kind of miracle ongoing here. Wales wise, yet again, same areas just being affected. In fact, the Neath Port Talbot area is starting to recover power outage wise. Let's have a look at that weather radar again. So you can see these winds are surging through right now. They're pushing through this cold front here. That is moving through central England. And then, northern England. But technically that cold front reaches out for quite a while. Look at how long this thing reaches out for. That's kind of ridiculous. Look at that. That's pretty crazy. And then we have this upper front here that's going to try and push down. It's kind of wrapping around. Could be a sting jet, possibly, as it continues to develop closer into third night, which is the concern. And all these winds are going to start wrapping around, building up here. They're going to unleash as they head out to the North Sea. Going to really intensify here. Yeah, again, Aberdeenshire is an area that we're watching for damage as we head into the night. This is a shipping forecast at the moment. We have pretty much all areas under gale warnings. We have Storm Force 10, Storm Force 10, Storm Force 10, Storm Force 10. Most of these areas have Storm Force 10 warnings. 40, Storm Force 10, Storm Force 10, Severe Gale Force 9, Storm Force 10, Severe Gale Force 9, severe gale force 9. So pretty much lots of things going on here. Lots of things going on. All a bit crazy. If we have a look at the latest pressure readings, 979. Anything lower than that? Oh, 978. We have a 978 pressure reading. So 978. That is quite a bit. That is quite deep. That is quite deep. Not necessarily as dangerously deep as some of the other runs had been saying, but it is still quite deep of a low pressure system for this time of year. Max wind gusts tonight. I'll say it before. I said it before. We had a wind gust in Wales that had been confirmed, I'm pretty sure, of 93 miles per hour. That's quite a fast wind gust in Cape Cure, that's where it was. So Wales got that. We weren't expecting Wales to get the highest wind gust, but there we are. Wales actually got that record. I'm pretty sure Capel Curig is on higher land as it is kind of around the mountainy areas. In fact, I'll show you on the map here where Capel Curig kind of is. Head over to the weather radar. Should that show you the whole world apparently. So it's quite a high level area. It's in this area of Wales. Yeah, okay, store data there. We've determined the pressure centre to be somewhere around here. This is where it's wrapping in. Very bad for sending it. What gusts are being reported? We could send it on stream right now. I mean right now, ridiculous rainfall. So yeah, that line here with serious rainfall. Laura's starting to hear the wind. A tree has been brought down in front of his house. So we do have dangerous impacts that are happening because of this. That is quite worrying. So we have trees down. I'm gonna have a look at Google Traffic actually. Actually, not Waze. I might just have a look at Waze right now. We're gonna keep an eye on those cameras. We're also gonna have a look at the power outages shortly, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But we are going to have a look at Waze to try and see if we've got any traffic reports of fallen trees, etc. I expect they're going to be quite high tonight, because this is looks like quite a severe one, a bit more severe than we were expecting. Anything noticeable being reported? I'm going to scan through for that. Trees down though, that is something to note. Cars do seem to be going slower right now. If I head on to Google Maps, we could have a look to see what the traffic is doing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure trees falling is on the red warning criteria, right? Or at least high impact criteria. Okay, so we continue to monitor things very closely here. Um, so we had a 93-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier being reported. That is the most concerning thing we've had so far. We've also had reports of trees down, and that might actually go into severe weather warning criteria for a red warning. Let's have a look at the wind tables. It doesn't mention trees in the criteria, but it also says, yeah, multiple things on note there. Well, it's getting wild out there. It is getting wild out there. Um, is that sting jet trying to form? That is a question I have. Let's head back to the radar here. We've got this feature falling down here. Does that indicate a sting jet, possibly? So we've kind of had this kind of like, it's quite interesting. I think there's lots of shear in the atmosphere tonight, because we do have this kind of line that is forming if we have a look out. But you can see, yeah, it goes quite far. It's actually going to probably hit France. Like, it might even go further than this. It might just be out of radar range. Like an entire swath of range is covering the UK. But you can also see that it's kind of been stretched out in one direction. Indicates there's a lot of shit, and that could possibly spin up the rare tornado. I wouldn't say that's likely, but no, that's probably not likely. But it could happen basically. As a squall line moves through, you've got a lot of shear in the atmosphere that spit, and that could spin up a cold front weak tornado, and that could cause some more extensive damage. But that's mainly it with the tornado threat. Isn't something I'd pay much attention to. The strong winds are the main issue here. Now, I was mentioning this feature earlier. This looks a bit like similar to a sting jet. What it's trying to do right now, it could wrap around and possibly actually become a sting jet. And if so, it would bring quite a few quite nasty winds. We're also watching for Aberdeenshire later as we move later into the night. I've said this quite a few times. Um, okay, so we are seeing quite a few 60-mile-an-hour gusts on the stations.
Okay. So, been quite an eventful evening so far. Plenty of concerning reports. Snow is starting to pile back in across areas of Scotland. What's happening? Clear wind shear at the moment. We've got a weather front that's pushing down, but at the same time, we also have heavy wind gusts, and it's actually quite a good measure of what wind gusts we are seeing at the moment. Because if you could see here, we have some really long extensions across areas of the south here, which are indicating heavier wind gusts. And then if we go here, we have smaller extensions of it, and then you can see here the line down here basically has no effect. So that is something to note as we head later on this evening. We're now going to get an update on England's power outages. We're going to do a little reload. We're up to 3,000 out. So starting to see more widespread people get out across this area. I think we do have more damaging winds in a more southern area, if I'm being honest. I think this damaging wind front may have moved a bit south to what was expected. Because that's what the evidence is kind of suggesting at the moment. Which is quite interesting. I think that's something that we were expecting. It's getting a bit loud outside, alright. Really interesting stuff. Really starting to build up here. Try and get some webcams up. Yes, again. It's a better webcam. Let's try and get a Newcasting webcam. Oh yeah, we've got a good camera. Good thing we found that. So we'll just head over here. Yeah, it's quite violent in here at the moment. In Newcastle, I think the storm is basically done. So that's good news for them. We're now going to switch over in Newcastle to a new camera entirely.
going on then? So we'll just head over here to that new camera. Getting gusty winds at times. You can see the lights are starting to kind of flicker a bit. It has suddenly calmed down a bit. Tyler's squad has joined from Wales. In fact, we do have a Wales camera. We just head over here to Wales. It's really picking up. We have actually had our highest wind gust from Wales at 93 miles per hour. So that's in northern Wales where we got that gust. I think it's pretty high in the mountains, but still quite notable effects from this storm. So yeah, definitely something to note. Down in Newcastle, winds are definitely picking up at this point. Be quite a nasty storm there. This is no Storm Goretti. This is no storm of 1987. This is still a notable storm nonetheless. So that's why we're keeping a stark eye on it at the moment. If we just head through our cameras, has that camera frozen possibly? No, it looks fine. Those wind gusts are picking up occasionally at times. Back to... If we continue having a look. Yeah, that is the current situation that we are seeing. So there is a nasty looking squall line that is actually enhancing the wind threat as we move through. We're going to have a look here at this line. You can see this line of heavy showers that may actually be thundering. I'm not really sure. We are going to have a look at that. If we just go on to our lightning sector. We have some lightning to the north, but you can see we've got this kind of low cape, high shear environment, which means that we have a lot of kind of rotation. It's all a bit all over the place, which is causing these showers to kind of extend. And this has caused some ridiculously heavy rain and a tree to fall down. We do have a report of that has come in. That's something to note. And then we will have winds surging back later into the evening as we do continue through. So yet again, you can see this kind of jet that's going to kind of roll down, and then what that's going to do is it's going to likely result in some issues, some issues for Aberdeenshire. You can see this clipper here, and if we head over to Windy right now, what we're possibly going to see is, just have a look here. Well, I don't really care about the Windy update. I apologise, Windy. So as we cycle through, we get these winds here. This is about now, but you can see these winds will kind of wrap around, and then as that does happen, this hook starts to develop. And as we move through the night, what's going to happen is we're going to see rather severe winds for Aberdeenshire, especially around 2 o'clock-ish, and that could persist. We're not exactly sure the detail on how long that will persist, but we're thinking around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. At that point, it'll be over, but it'll be quite consistent, damaging wind gusts for Aberdeen. That could cause lots of power outages and more. We're going to have a look at the latest England power outages, and we have even more people out. We have even more people out at the moment. So we have Rutland, all that stuff. This kind of swath is really starting to pile up with power outages in County Durham as well. If we have a look at Wales's outages, their outages have actually gone down at the moment. Still a few scattered outages in the south. We don't really have much data on the north, which is unfortunate. Looking at Wales, in fact, because we did actually have a 93-mile-an-hour wind gust, as I keep saying, down here. But that burst of winds into the north also has gone a bit more southwards than we were expecting. We weren't expecting wind gusts on this level. In fact, the peak wind gust was likely expected to be quite a bit ago. It should be calming down at this point. Anyway, you can see that band of winds is continuing to move north eastwards. Right now, we should be seeing gusts of only up to 50 miles an hour in some certain places. General wind will be lower because that's basically how it is. You can see the consistent winds will be starting to go down. So it's kind of the calm after the storm, in effect. And this wind feature is basically summarizing how much average wind there would be. So the gust is like the peak speed. And look at that. Look at that. It's really starting to vibrate. If we have a look at we'll have a look at the webcam in a second again. But you can see there constant winds of even 40 miles an hour in places, 48 and 50. Constantly 50 mile an hour winds can be very damaging. Can cause power outages, all of that stuff. So that is definitely stuff we do not want to see in Aberdeen. And they still have only put them under a yellow warning. So many people won't actually know that this is coming. So it's quite unfortunate the Met Office didn't decide to issue an amber warning there. Let's take a look at some of the webcams again, because why not? Have a look back in Newcastle, see how that is kind of going. So the burst of winds we saw earlier. Oh yeah, see you, Laura. Wells, it seems like the caravan about to tip in town. Yeah. Yes, it's quite crazy at the moment. Thank you, James. It is definitely quite crazy at the moment, the kind of magnitude of what's going on in Wales. We weren't expecting too much in Wales, we were expecting a bit of northern Wales. But we weren't expecting our peak gust of the night, 93 miles an hour, to be recorded. Let's have a look at our cameras, let's see what's going on. Still quite bumpy in Wales at the moment. This is our camera in Wales. In Cumbria, starting to calm down, but we still have quite active wind gusts there. And in Newcastle, at the moment it looks okay, but we still do have quite a few wind gusts. You can see, actually, yeah, you can see the puddles kind of being moved about as we go through. So yeah, we'll have a look again. I'm expecting another update soon on our power outages. Scotland appears to have a decent amount of people out. Highlands mainly, but we're starting to see other areas, I think. I'm going up. Yeah, Aberdeenshire is already seeing outages. There's only a small amount to start off with. We're only seeing a small amount of outages in Aberdeenshire, but you can see it's starting to really kick up a bit. For Wales, what should be happening is that we should be starting to see less wind gusts. It should be starting to calm down. However, we weren't expecting the 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts that we did have in Wales. It was quite an isolated possibility, and that did actually happen. So the chances are it could persist for a bit more, but we'll try and get on that a bit later on. We'll keep looking at the wind gusts throughout the night to try and observe what is occurring. Aberdeen is currently getting around 46 miles an hour gusts, so that would explain it. We're still seeing quite a few people out in the Highlands, but you can see that's likely a result of just the amount of people there, and then all of this snow building up. That's kind of what's causing it. Kind of seeing a lag on Google at the moment because I have so many tabs open. It's kind of ridiculous. And we're going to switch back to a camera for now. So I'm going to continue monitoring reports that we are receiving at the moment. Right. So numerous of reports coming in at the moment. Seeing quite a few on the Net Weather Forum. Okay, we likely have a new update on the power cuts. Still 4,000 out in England at least. That is quite a bit. Just load it up. Yeah, look at that. Staffordshire. We're starting to see an increase in people going out of power. We're also seeing an increase in Yorkshire areas. Quite a few people going out there. County Durham. And now in the Newcastle area as well. We have a camera, of course, on there at the moment. If we just might have been on that before, but we can switch back the camera. In fact, do we have that camera down at the moment? We're just gonna have to reload that. Has that camera potentially been taken out? No, that camera's still on. Okay, that's good news. Well, for a second, that camera had gone out due to the power. So we're starting to see now that storm is starting to move over to the west, and now we're going to see a lot more of nothing, essentially. Those wind gusts that have been happening throughout England have really peaked at this point, through northern England at least. Aberdeenshire we still have to watch though. That could definitely develop into something later, as we head later into the evening, around 2ish. So that is something we'll be definitely keeping our eyes on. Just have to look at that. So we'll go. There we are. So wind's starting to die down all round really. Not sure if it's worth going all night into directly into when Aberdeen gets hit, but I would stay weather aware anyway. Yeah, it's been a good stream so far. I've been testing out its graphic system quite a bit as well, so it's been good to have that. Yeah, at this point, I think there's nothing else we can do. Everyone else is just going to be asleep, so I think it may be worth ending shortly. Unless anything else more interesting comes up. Let's wait and see. I think at this rate, we'll monitor the Aberdeenshire situation. It's likely going to be quite intense gusts we're going to see, but yeah, not really sure what to make of it at this point. Still quite gusty. Look at that in Cumbria. So we are seeing some of it, but yeah, I know you're there, James. Don't worry. Think it might be worth ending it off here, though. All right. Let's have a check. Let's have a check of anything that's coming out of the storm right now. Any reports? Okay, so nothing appears to be going on right now, at least. I'm probably going to be hit by the weaker end of the squall line soon myself. Um, but I think by the point that Aberdeenshire gets hit, it won't be worth continuing watching for much longer. So I think I might end it here then. But yeah, it's been a good stream. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Just have a scan of those cameras one more time. Still quite bumpy in the ocean there. Gusty quite a bit still in Cumbria, and in Newcastle it's pretty much settled down, if anything, from what we can see here. Oh no, look at that! You see that random gust there. But yeah, that should be it then. Let's just do a wrap up review on what's going on. We'll just have a look at the power outages one more time. Oh, 5,000 out. Wow. Got a big outage in Worcestershire. That was not expected. Does this indicate that we have it a bit further south? Maybe that's what's going on. We may have some more winds further south, and that's what it would indicate. Very, very interesting, very interesting. So in the south, if you're here, I'd say south of the actual amber warning and yellow warning itself, stay weather aware because it does seem that we're getting a lot of outages here. All right, let's wrap it up then. So throughout the night, we're expecting probably these are overall winds, I think. But you can see the overall winds here. We'll just show you that. So we've seen these winds come through. We've had these nasty constant winds coming through in the north throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout the evening, I mean. And then what we've had later on is we've had them push the south. They've been wrapping around here. And what they're going to do later on tonight is they're going to push down, and Aberdeenshire, especially the coastal areas, need to watch out because there is some pretty fast winds coming down with that. So that is certainly something to note later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks all for watching the stream. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure if there are any thunderstorms or any other windstorms that do come, I will happily live stream them. That is, if there isn't if they aren't in the middle of some sort of important exam or something. But I'll try and live stream all the ones I can. Yeah, alright, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, lovely stuff. Alright. See you all.